A very happy morning to you all, children. I welcome you all for today's learning session. Children, we started with chemical reactions and equations, and this is part 3 of the same lesson. So, in the previous lessons, we have seen about so many factors. What is a chemical reaction? Why should a chemical reaction be balanced? Then, what are the evolutions when a chemical reaction is taking place, or what are the observations when a chemical reaction is taking place? And then we entered into the types of reaction. In the types of reaction, we had seen about combination reaction, and later we had seen about decomposition reaction. So decomposition reaction, we have seen it in the last week. So decomposition reaction takes place due to three types of energy: heat energy, light energy, and electric energy. And today we are going to discuss about two reactions which are single displacement and double displacement reaction. Single and double displacement reactions. And also we are going to see redox reaction. So these three reactions we will see in today's class, and as of now these reactions are frequently asked in the board examinations. So unless and otherwise you are thorough with the fundamentals, you will be finding it difficult to answer them in the board examinations. Moreover, the equations you are encountering only in this year. Therefore, equations are very important in chemistry, and when the equation is correct, the examiners will least see through your written material. So assuming when your equation is right, the writing also will be correct. Therefore, children, practice every equation by writing it 10 times and make it by hearted. Also, those equations which you are learning every day, write it in a A4 sheet paper and paste it on your study table and look at that every time when you visit your study table. So these are the ways in which you can improve your equation skills. So the more you are nearer to it, the most friend it will be. So when you see every day the equations, then it will be embedded in your heart and mind. So that is the secret behind studying chemistry. Now let us see each of the reactions: single displacement, double displacement, and redox reaction one by one in the upcoming slides. This slide gives you what is a displacement reaction. When it is a displacement reaction, it simply refers to single displacement reaction. Why it is called a single displacement? You will learn it later. So always displacement reaction refers to single displacement reaction. So it is a reaction in which more reactive element replaces a less reactive element in a chemical reaction. So this is the definition. So a more reactive element replaces a less reactive element in a chemical reaction is called displacement reaction. Now see to the A, B, C which is given in the form of equation. A, it is a single element. It combines with BC. BC, you all know that it is a compound where B will have plus ions, that is cations, and C will have minus ions, that is anions. Now, after the reaction, A will combine with C and B is left out. So, in this way, it is being displaced. So, this is called single displacement reaction, or simply as displacement reaction. Children, in order to know which element is more reactive and which element is least reactive, we cannot work out on displacement reaction. So, the chemicals are being arranged in the order of their decreasing reactivity. So, when you see in this list, K is sodium, K is potassium, then comes sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and gold. So these elements are arranged in the decreasing power of their reactivity, and this is called reactivity series, which you will learn again when we take up the lesson metals and non-metals. So what you have to remember is potassium K is the most reactive of all the elements. Then when you compare it with sodium, sodium is also more reactive, but when you compare it with the potassium, it is less reactive. Similarly, when you take calcium, calcium is also more reactive, but it will be less reactive than sodium and potassium. So what you have to understand is that the reaction, that is the degree of reactiveness, goes on decreasing. So among this table, potassium is the most reactive and the bottommost, gold, is the least reactive. So this you have to learn, and I have given you on the right side some hints to make you to remember the list of elements in the reactive series. So you remember the statement, please stop calling me a zebra, instead learn how copper may sell gold. Please stop calling me a zebra, instead learn how copper may sell gold. So if you remember this statement, obviously you will be able to write all the elements which are given here. You need not memorize these in order. So please, here for please, K, potassium comes. So P is for potassium. Sodium, Na. So S is for sodium. Calling, Ca, calcium. Magnesium, in magnesium, M refers for M refers for magnesium. So like that, we will be able to remember the list of elements in the reactive series. So unless we know this, we cannot write the displacement reaction. So again, what is a displacement reaction? It is a type of reaction in which more reactive element displaces a less reactive element in a chemical reaction. Children, you will see an activity in this which describes about an important displacement reaction. So the activity says like this: take 3 iron nails and clean them by rubbing with sandpaper. So why we are rubbing it with sandpaper is it may have pieces of rust on it. Therefore, we are cleaning it with the help of sandpaper. Take 2 test tubes marked as A and B. In each test tube, take 10 ml of copper sulfate solution. So we have to take 2 test tubes, label it as A and B, and in each of them we have to add 10 ml of copper sulfate solution. You all know that the color of the copper sulfate solution is as shown in the diagram. It is blue in color. Then tie 2 iron nails with a thread and immerse them carefully into the copper sulfate solution in the test tube B for about 20 minutes. So the two iron nails are to be tied with a thread, and we have to insert them in such a way they are completely inside the test tube, and we have to hang it for 20 minutes. Keep one iron nail aside for comparison. So out of 3, you are dipping only 2 inside. The other one, you are keeping it on the table in order to compare it. So after 20 minutes, take out the iron nails from the copper sulfate solution. So what would have been happened in 20 minutes? Chemical reaction between copper sulfate and iron nail would have taken place, and that's why this time is being given for the reaction to complete. After that, compare the intensity of the blue color of copper sulfate solution in the test tube A and test tube B. So this is test tube B, and this is after the reaction. The test tube A, we have not done anything with it, so it is only for comparing. Also, compare the color of the iron nails dipped in the copper sulfate solution with the one kept aside. So you have to compare the copper sulfate solution with test tube B with that of test tube A. And similarly, you have to compare the color of the iron nails in test tube B with test tube A. Remember that test tube B is the one after the reaction, and test tube A is the one which is before the reaction. Children, this figure will illustrate you what had happened after the reaction. You can see the iron nails. The first iron nail, which is kept outside the copper sulfate solution, and next to it is the iron nail taken out from the copper sulfate solution. Observe the color. Now, the second nail, which is dipped in copper sulfate solution, it changes into brown in color, isn't it? So after the reaction, it has turned into brown in color. And similarly, you compare the solutions. So first is the test tube containing solution where we had prepared freshly, that is test tube A. So without any reaction. And next to it is the test tube B, where the same copper sulfate solution after the reaction. So you can see again the intensity of the color is reduced in test tube B after the reaction. So after the reaction, the color of the copper sulfate has changed, as well as the color of the iron nail has changed. Why? It is because of the reaction between copper sulfate and iron. Why does the iron nail become brownish in color and the blue color of copper sulfate solution gets faded? So the reaction is represented like this. Fe iron plus copper sulfate CuSO4 gives, after the reaction, FeSO4, that is iron sulfate plus copper. So this reaction, iron has displaced or removed another element, copper, from copper sulfate solution. This reaction is known as displacement reaction. So the copper is being displaced, it is being separated after the reaction, and that's why it is called as single displacement reaction or simply displacement reaction. In this, you can see iron, and when you compare iron and copper, iron is more reactive and copper is least reactive when compared to iron. That's why iron is able to separate copper. On the other hand, very, very important, if you take ferrous sulfate solution and react it with copper, you just interchanging. So ferrous sulfate with copper what will happen? This is an important board question. Here, there will not be any reaction. Why? Copper is less reactive than iron. Therefore, no reaction will take place. So, a reaction will take place only if a more reactive element reacts with a less reactive element. And that is what is called displacement reaction. Here is the observation of the previous reaction we had seen. When iron nail is kept in copper sulfate solution, iron nail becomes brownish in color and the blue color of the solution fades away. This is so because of the reaction taking place between both the elements. This is an example of displacement reaction. The reaction is very important. Fe ferrous plus CuSO4 copper sulfate gives FeSO4 ferrous sulfate plus Cu copper. So it's a very important reaction, and this is a very famous equation for which represents the displacement or simply as single displacement reaction. Now children, we will pass on to the next reaction, double displacement reaction. What is a double displacement reaction? The reaction in which two compounds react by exchange of ions to form new compound is called double displacement reaction. So, two compounds must be there, and these two compounds after the reaction will exchange ions. Now, you see to the letters given there, W and X. W is positively ion, cation, X is negative ions. Then YZ is another compound which it is reacting with. Y is a cation, a positive ion, Z is a negative ion. For example, copper sulfate, when you take Cu plus SO4 minus we write. So one will be positive, one will be negative. Now see, after the reaction, Y combines with X. So the X previously it is combined with W, and after the reaction it is combined with Y. Similarly, you see Z. Previously, before reaction, it is combined with Y. Now, after the reaction, it is combining with W. Therefore, there is an exchange of ions between the two types of compounds. So, a reaction in which there is an exchange of ions between two compounds, it is called by the name double displacement reaction. So, a double displacement reaction is one in which two compounds react by exchange of ions to form new compounds. Children, you can observe an activity again in order to understand the double displacement reaction. The activity says take about 3 ml of sodium sulfate solution. Sodium sulfate. What is the formula for sodium sulfate? Sodium Na, sulfate SO4, and sulfate has a valency 2 and sodium has a valency 1. Therefore, the formula for sodium sulfate is Na2SO4. In another test tube, take about 3 ml of barium chloride solution. Barium chloride, barium Ba, chloride Cl2. So both of them have valency 1. Therefore, barium chloride is BaCl2. So in the first test tube, sodium sulfate is taken, and in the second test tube, barium chloride is being taken. Mix the two solutions. What do you observe? You can see in the side of the slide, a figure is there. Test tube containing solution of barium chloride is taken down, and test tube containing solution of sodium sulfate is being poured into the other test tube. So what happens after the reaction? You will observe that a white substance which is insoluble in water is formed. So before the reaction, both the solutions are in liquid form, right? It is just like water. But after the reaction, you can find a white solid substance which is insoluble in water, just like a curd sub. How the curd is a white substance, which but curd is soluble in water. Here, this is insoluble in water. A curdy-like substance is formed after the reaction. This insoluble substance form is known as a precipitate. A new word to you, precipitate. A precipitate is the one which is obtained after the reaction, just which is a solid substance which is insoluble in water. Any reaction that produces a precipitate can be called as a precipitation reaction. Children, this reaction is the one which can represent double displacement reaction as well as a precipitate reaction. So the board question may be asked, write a double displacement reaction which involves a precipitation also. So both the answers is one and the same, reaction of sodium sulfate with barium chloride. The equation is very, very important. So Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 gives BaSO4 plus NaCl. Children, you see in this reaction, study very carefully. Na2SO4, Na is plus, SO4 is minus. Similarly, in barium chloride, Ba is positive plus and Cl2 is minus. Now, after the reaction, barium positive is combining with sulfate negative. So there is an exchange, isn't it? You can observe there is an exchange of ions. Similarly, sodium is combining with chlorine. So in both the cases, there is an exchange of ions taking place, and that's why we call it as double displacement reaction. Children, now let us pass on to the next type of reaction, redox reaction. REDOX is redox reaction. So if you want to learn about redox reaction, we have to learn about the oxidation reaction and reduction reaction, which is being given clearly in this. So what is an oxidation reaction? What is a reduction reaction? This basic is very important. So observe this slide very carefully in order to understand what is oxidation and what is reduction. Now, oxidation is opposite of reduction or vice versa. So whatever is for oxidation, the exact opposite will be for reduction. Now let us see what is given under oxidation. Loss of electron. So when there is a loss of electron, we call it as oxidation reaction. And similarly, on the right side, you see gain of electrons. So exactly opposite. So when there is a gain of electron, it is a reduction reaction. Second point, increase in the oxidation state is oxidation reaction. Similarly, decrease in the oxidation state is reduction reaction. Third one, addition of oxygen is oxidation and removal of oxygen is reduction. Fourth one, removal of hydrogen is oxidation and addition of hydrogen is reduction. Children, it is enough if you remember the third point and fourth point as of class 10 now. So what is an oxidation reaction? It is either addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. So exactly opposite is removal of oxygen and addition of hydrogen. It is reduction. Now we will take an example and let us see how oxidation is recognized as well as how reduction is recognized. Now you see the second equation in this. 2SO2 plus O2 gives SO3. Now in the reactant side SO2 is there, but on the product side SO3 is there. So there is an addition of oxygen. So when there is an addition of oxygen, it is referred as oxidation reaction. Now in the last equation you see 2NH3 gives N2 plus 3H2. Now NH3 is ammonia, and ammonia is split up into nitrogen and hydrogen. Now you see from NH3 H2 is being separated. That means removal of hydrogen. So hydrogen is being removed from this reaction. Therefore, it is an oxidation reaction. Similarly, let us go to reduction. Let's take the second one. CO2 gives C plus O2. So in CO2, O2 is being removed. Oxygen is being removed. So removal of oxygen. So it is a reduction reaction. And similarly, the last reaction you see H2 plus Cl2 gives 2HCl. So here on the product side, there is an addition of hydrogen to chlorine. Therefore, this addition of hydrogen is again a reduction reaction. Therefore, children, be very specific. Oxidation is addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Reduction reaction is removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen. So wherever you see when oxygen is being added, it is oxidation. Similarly, wherever you see oxygen is being removed, it is a reduction reaction. Similarly, when you see addition of hydrogen, it is reduction, and when you see removal of hydrogen, it is oxidation. So these concepts you should be very clear in identifying oxidation and reduction reaction. Dear children, you can observe some reactions being represented here and listen to me very carefully. Now let us pass on to redox reaction. So in the word redox, R-E-D-O-X, R-E-D, red represents reduction reaction, O-X represents oxidation reaction. That means reduction reaction is combined with oxidation reaction, simply specified as a redox reaction. So it involves reduction as well as oxidation. So what is the definition for this? A reaction in which both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is called redox reaction. So this is a very important definition. Oxidation and reduction should take place simultaneously. What do you mean by simultaneously? At the same time. Okay, then it is called redox reaction. So a few examples are being given here where you can see and learn very clearly. Now let us take the first equation, Fe2O3, that is ferric oxide plus 3CO, carbon monoxide, reacts to give Fe, that is iron or iron, plus 3CO2 carbon dioxide. Now you see the red color arrow mark. Fe2O3 is converted into Fe. Now in this you can see the O3, that is oxygen, is being removed. So when there is a removal of oxygen, we call it as reduction reaction. Similarly, you see the blue color arrow mark. CO is being converted into CO2. There is an excess of one oxygen atom. Therefore, CO is converted into CO2. It is an addition of oxygen. Therefore, it is taken as oxidation reaction. So in one single reaction, oxidation and reduction, both of them happen simultaneously. Therefore, it is known as the redox reaction. Now, let us see to the right side equation. H2S, hydrogen sulfide, combines with Cl2 chlorine to give sulfur S plus hydrochloric acid HCl. Now in this you see the arrow mark which is represented above. H2S, after the reaction it gives only S. That means there is a removal of hydrogen. So there is a loss of hydrogen. So it represents oxidation reaction. Similarly, Cl2 chlorine is combined after the reaction changes into HCl. That means there is an addition of hydrogen. So gain of hydrogen. Therefore, it is a reduction reaction. In a similar way, you can represent the down equations also. I have given it to you. So identify. The answer is also being given whether it is reduction or oxidation. So in all this reaction, oxidation as well as reductions takes place at the same time, that is simultaneously. Therefore, these are the examples for redox reaction. Dear children, this slide explains you in a nutshell about redox reaction. That means the combination of oxidation and reduction reaction. If a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be reduced. If one reactant gets oxidized while the other gets reduced during a reaction, such reactions are called oxidation reduction reactions, or in short, redox reactions. If a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen during a reaction, it is oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen or gains hydrogen during a reaction, it is reduced. Children, after learning about redox reaction, let us go a step further, which is very important: oxidizing agent and reducing agent. So, analyzing and finding out this oxidizing agent and reduction agent, and hence the substance oxidized and substance reduced in a redox reaction is very important, where it is frequently asked in the board examination. Now look at the left side equation. Already we have discussed this equation in the previous slide. Fe2O3 plus 3CO gives 2Fe plus 3CO2. Since CO is converted into CO2, carbon monoxide is converted into carbon dioxide after the addition of oxygen, this is oxidation reaction. And Fe2O3 is converted into Fe, that means removal of oxygen, so it is a reduction reaction. Now let us find out the substance oxidized and the substance reduced. Now in order to find the substance oxidized, take out the blue color arrow mark. Now what do you find on the reactant side? Reactant side, all of you know that it is there on the left side of the arrow mark. So it is 3CO. We need not mention 3. So we have to write the name of the compound. So CO, that is carbon monoxide. So the substance oxidized is CO. Similarly, for the reduction reaction, so see to the red mark, and what is there on the reactant side? It is Fe2O3. So that is ferric oxide. So the substance reduced is ferric oxide. Now next is oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent is nothing but substance reduced, that is Fe2O3. Reducing agent is nothing but the substance oxidized, that is carbon monoxide. So it is in this manner we have to find out the substance oxidized and the oxidizing agent and other things. Now let us apply the same principle onto the equation which is on the right. H2S plus Cl2 gives S plus 2HCl. That is hydrogen sulfide plus chlorine gives sulfur plus hydrochloric acid. Right. Now look at the oxidation arrow which is above. Now what is there on the reactant side? It is H2S. Therefore the substance oxidized is H2S. Similarly, in the reduction arrow, what is there in the left side? It is Cl2. So it is the substance reduced. And as I have told you, oxidizing agent is the substance reduced, that is Cl2. Reducing agent is the substance oxidized, that is H2S. So it is in this manner we have to identify different substance and agents in a redox reaction. So we have to always remember that the substance reduced is the oxidizing agent. The substance oxidized is the reducing agent. So for those examples which are given above, you can apply the same principle and you can identify and make a tabular column and you can copy it in your notebook. Children, this is an activity based on the redox reaction given in your textbook. Now, what is this activity? Heat a china dish containing 1 gram of copper powder. So what do you observe? So we have to take 1 gram of copper powder and we have to eat it. The surface of the copper powder becomes coated with black copper 2 oxide. Why has this black color formed? This is because oxygen is added to copper and copper oxide is formed. So when copper is heated, it combines with the oxygen present in the atmosphere and then it converts itself into copper oxide. Hence, you can see the change in the color also. If hydrogen gas is passed over this heated material, that means copper oxide, the black coating of the surface turns brown as the reverse reaction is taking place and copper is obtained. So on passing hydrogen, copper oxide again turns into copper. The equation for this is CuO plus H2 gives Cu plus H2O. So if a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be reduced. During this reaction, that is a reaction 1.29, the copper 2 oxide is losing oxygen and in other words, one reactant gets oxidized while the other gets reduced during a reaction. Such reactions are called oxidation reduction reactions or redox reactions. So CuO plus H2 gives on heating Cu plus H2O. So we can see that CuO is converted into Cu after the removal of oxygen. So it is a reduction reaction. H2 becomes H2O after the addition of oxygen. Therefore, it is an oxidation reaction. So you have to remember the colors. Pure copper is brown in color and after it gets mixed with oxygen present in the air, it becomes brick red color, right? So it becomes black. It becomes black. This is the one which you have to note. Children, by this we come to an end of today's learning session and we have described all the types of reactions with examples, and so I request you to go through each and every reaction with definition, equation, and the experiment and their result. So this lesson is being completed, and in next week we will see about the types of questions which may be asked frequently by the board, and we will revise in the next week all this. So have a good day. Learn all the reactions again. I'm telling you. Bye, children.